Taoiseach, if you or I go to buy a car today, and we go to 3 different garages that sell the same car, new, you'll get a different price. If you look at the television night after night, each of the different stores that sell food will be able to tell you how much you save. But funnily enough, it has been brought to my attention by the individual farmers that in January of this year, the beef price was €4 a kilo. In February, all of a sudden it dropped to €3.70, while the markets in Europe did not show a deterioration. In fairness to the Farmers Journal, every week it is publicly printed, be it the likes of Keepec, ABP, Meadow Meats, Charleville, Liffey, 16 different factories, to name but a few, are printed on the price every week. But funnily enough, Taoiseach, the same price is there for each and every one of them. There isn't, as they say in rural Ireland, a breadth of a hair between them, ironically enough. Even though meat is going, be it in Ireland or be it in Europe, to different parts and different contracts. And when you drill down on this information, and it is very good information, especially around the 7th of the 2nd, 2021, heifers were quoted at 375, cows at 290. And when you drill down more, you would see that in certain parts of the country, especially down south, that one factory ended up on the price of 448. And you can take out all the bonuses, you don't have to be a mathematician to do it, and you would see that the price would have to be around €4 to 4.10. But ironically enough, from information that I have received, that it is stated to me that beef feedlots is what brought in a large amount of cattle that week. So it appears, and I'm saying it appears, that depending on who you are, if you're a small farmer, you will be getting one price, but if you're basically on a contract or a big operator, you get a second price. And I think this needs to be investigated. The government needs to do something about this. When you talk to the Competition Authority, all they'll say is, well, we're on about the consumer. But the farmer is the person that produces the goods. The farmer, at the moment, is a price taker. Deputy or Minister McGonagall stated in 2019 that it needed a full investigation. And in my opinion, Taoiseach, we need to bring in a regulator, and we need to bring in a regulator with teeth, but also with powers to go in and take the computers and take the data. We're not accusing anybody of anything, but I'll tell you, with what we are hearing on the ground, and generally it doesn't be too far wrong, there is something amiss with what's going on in the beef sector. And I am asking you as Taoiseach, will you work with your other parties to do this for the sake of agriculture and the sake of the...
I just want to thank Deputy Fitzmaurice for raising this important issue, and I know the price of beef and the volatility in beef prices is causing enormous concern for farmers and for rural communities across Ireland. The government is aware that recent price volatility in the beef sector is causing huge difficulties, and we're conscious that the sector is particularly exposed due to factors such as Brexit and COVID, given its resilience and reliance on international trade and the food service and hospitality markets. As the Deputy is aware, prices for beef and other commodities are commercial matters which the government has no role in fixing. Minister McConalogue and the Department of Agriculture, Food and Marine are working to ensure that business and service to farmers can continue, keeping food and other processing facilities operational, ensuring that payments and commercial activities that are necessary to protect farm incomes can continue. The Department is also working to ensure that Irish beef has access to as many high-value markets around the world as possible. And indeed, Ministers McConalogue and Hayden are today having virtual meetings with customers in China, the Netherlands and the United Kingdom. The nature of all markets is that the price will fluctuate, especially in the case of a market disturbance, and that has been evidenced during the COVID crisis and also the uncertainty surrounding Brexit. The government provides a range of financial aids to help beef farm incomes, to support economic and environmental efficiency, These include the €300 million Beef Data and Genomics Programme, and in addition to this, over the last 2 years, over €200 million was made available specifically to the beef sector, including the BEAM and BEEP schemes in 2019 and the beef finishers payment, as well as BEEP-S in 2020. In budget 2021, €85 million was allocated for specific supports for sustainable beef farming. This includes over €40 million for the extension of the Beef Data Genomics Programme during the transition period before the next cap, and the beef sector efficiency pilot with an allocation of €40 million and the €5 million dairy beef measure were launched last week. So considerable financial supports going from government to beef farmers and to a lesser extent dairy farmers. Minister McConalogue has also secured €6 million in the budget for the promotion of the Suckler beef brand abroad, and the Minister continues to progress work around protected geographic indicator status for Irish grass-fed beef. And as Minister for Trade, I'm working on that with them too. And we hope to extend this on all-island basis in time. Bord Bia's beef market tracker includes a comparison of prime Irish beef composite price with a comparative export benchmark price based on weighted average of our key export markets. The tracker was put in place as a result of work of the Beef Market Task Force and provides an additional measure of transparency in relation to beef prices, which is critically important.
Deputy Fitzmaurice.
Taoiseach, I'm not questioning the different schemes that the government give. I never mention them whatsoever. And I agree with you that prices do fluctuate. But funnily enough, sterling was 91 and it came back to 85. And that means then that for the person buying in England, it is better for them. So the difference between an animal in Ireland and an animal killed in England was €200. Today, if you go to a mart, that the same agents would be buying for the factories, and if you had what we call cull cows, you will actually get more per kilo in the mart, and they're still bringing them into the factory at the price the farmer was supposed to take. What I am asking you is, are you prepared, or do you agree, first of all, that it is rather unusual that there wouldn't be as much as a cent between you and I, if I was a factory owner, right across the board in 16 different factories that quote?
Thank you.
It's as if someone has a magic wand over all of this. And are you prepared to bring in a regulator that will be given teeth to look at what is going on in the beef sector?
Thanks very much, Deputy. The task force, as you know, commissioned Grant Thornton to conduct a series of market transparency studies. At the most recent meeting of the task force in March, there was an update from Grant Thornton on its work, and Mr McConalogue attended and spoke at the meeting, where he expressed his concern with the manner to which factories inform farmers of recent price cuts and changes to breed bonuses and weight limits. The Deputy will be aware that the Programme for Government commits to the establishment of a National Food Ombudsman. The establishment of a National Foods Ombudsman is ongoing and requires the drafting of a statutory instrument to transpose the UTP directive before the deadline of May 2021. Legislation will then be required to establish the new office of the NFO. So it's intended there will be a national consultation process on the functions of this new Ombudsman prior to the primary legislation being enacted. And Mr McConalogue is also considering how to include price transparency and reporting issues as part of its functions. So I think the short answer perhaps to the Deputy's question is yes. We are committed to establishing a National Food Ombudsman. Legislation will be required, and that legislation can set out the powers and functions that that new officer will have. And I know the Deputy will want to engage with us on that.